o'clock to me.
Oh, there you go. Now it's live.
6 o'clock.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Live.
Wow, this is amazing.
Hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
I gotta mute myself. I have the big computer right here. I get to see comments and everything. It's great. But welcome back to another Tuesday evening. Today is February the 20th. We got myself, Daniel, Dolan Bates. We have the co-hosts Luke and Charlie, Artemis Customs, L. Charlie. We have the infamous, the legend himself, Nick from Lateral Vision.
He wasn't expecting that one.
The local knowledge, the local legend. If anything is anything, we have Nick in the building.
Man, I don't know if I can. That intro is like probably one of the cooler ones I've gotten, so I appreciate it. But I don't feel like that. But that's pretty amazing, man.
That's what you get on Time on the Water or Beyond the Rod and Reel.
That's what you get when you switch to this new platform too. Not my phone, like my Instagram. I was in my garage on the first one. I remember like being in my garage in the corner with my headphones that were half working. I'm like, these guys are going to never invite me back because all my stuff doesn't work. It'd be great.
Well, that's all right. Nothing guys. Worked back then.
I want to just give a big shout out to Dinks for being the first comment.
Yeah.
Dinks,
what's up, George?
Thanks for always supporting. Love it.
But most of all, this is episode 31.
Wow.
I mean, as everybody who has watched, we do have, a couple of missed episodes, but officially episode 31, we are going strong. We're taking this year by storm, fishing, the live shows, tackle, and anything in between. But it's a real excitement to be here and to have you back on. Yeah,
it's cool and I'm stoked to be invited back on, like I said, after the blunder on the first one of technology.
Nick, SoCal Fishing Squad, what's up, Nick?
Oh, Nick.
What's up, Nick?
Fish Dogs. Tom, thanks for coming on.
How do you see
I'm pretty excited because you and I have had a pretty extensive conversation about like the nitty-gritty of fishing, the smaller details that a lot of people look over or just don't put as much thought and practice into. So I'm excited to kind of break down monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braid today, but also most of all the tournaments for the events, the event days for the Saltwater Bass Series.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you guys feel free to let it fly. I'm ready. I was excited all day for this. Oh, look at
Before we start, Daniel, how can Nick see his comments?
Oh, I can see the comments. I just don't see people joining. Like that's all. Like Instagram, is always.
Oh yeah. So you won't see people join up as Instagram used to. It'd be like so and so joined. But the comments that do get, pinned and all that stuff, or commented, those will roll through. If we have a question, I'll actually pin it to the screen so that you can read it, and then also the viewers can see it as well.
Yo, StreamYard, this is cool.
So before we get started, I want to bring up, it was like 1 or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about the war baits rods, and someone in the comments was mentioning that they have small eyes, and Nick from SoCal was mentioning that the eyes aren't a problem. I just want to bring up that I picked up one of them, and the eyes are the same size as the Phoenix is. So the eyes are not small.
You don't see. I mean, man, that world. So I have one rod in my arsenal that has micro guides, and I don't really notice too much of a difference with it. I actually feel like I'm a little more accurate. It's my flipping rod, like for like short range stuff. And for some reason, I find like I like the micro. If those are not micro guides, obviously.
No, they're the same ones as the Phoenix M1 inshore, or same size.
Micro guides are really tiny though. Like if you really get a rod with really small guides, like it's noticeably small, not just like a hair smaller. Like I'm talking, like
the Shimano SLX has noticeably small guides where the knots have trouble going through.
Oh yeah, I like the way I tie my knot too. It wouldn't even make it through the top guide of my micro guide rod. So
I have a crankbait rod with really micro.
Nice.
Micro guides.
That whole world, man, is so. Hey, what's up, Spotty_FI? Hello. That whole world is so interesting to me. I still have never really like dug too deep into the rod thing, so that's interesting that someone said that, Luke.
Yeah, so well, it's funny because I'm the opposite. My pitching rod has oversized eyes. Yeah. Because I want to tie like big, thick leader on there.
Oh yeah.
Now, what you do when you guys cast, what I have learned from the sport boats and casting irons and all that stuff is that when you cast, let's keep my hand in the frame. When you cast and you roll the reel down, that it flies through the guides a little bit easier. Yeah. Have you guys heard that before?
Yeah, that's what the acid wrap too. The theory is on the acid wraps, right?
Yeah. So even
I kind of stopped doing that once I went to acid wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
so you weren't getting caught up as much, Luke?
I found that over time I stopped twisting my hand.
But you're also throwing an FG knot, so it's a really
well. But I mean, like I said, also it's an acid wrap rod, so it's already twisting.
Yeah. So the idea behind it is that it tends to flow off the reel a little bit better if the reel's facing down like the line does. So you get a smoother line trajectory through the eyes. I don't even know how to word that.
It's too much.
Can you, Daniel? Can you pin Tom's comment? What connection knot? So what connection knot are you guys?
I want to know what connection knot Tom's throwing.
Well,
Nick, what connection knot do you usually do?
Me personally, I've done it for a long time, and I get a lot of flack for it. But I do a uni-to-uni on all my connection knots, and it's
me too.
It hasn't failed me. I mean, we all have the random, breaks here and there that everybody gets. But I mean, for me personally, I tried to learn the RP, or not the RP, what's the one that you wrap around a couple times, and it's like really thin. I always forget the name of that one. I tried that one.
There's the FG and there's the RP.
Okay, yeah, I did RP for a while, and I cast it off like 3 jigs, and I got like my favorite surface irons ever, and they went flying onto the beach at PV. So I was like, yep, never tying that one again. So I went right back to my uni-to-uni, just like for everyone watching, it's the basically, you tie 2 fishing knots, it cinches in the middle.
Yeah, they grab.
Yep, they grab and they cinch down. So it's a little ugly coming through the guides, but I mean, it works for me. I don't really find a reason to switch when something works, especially in this world, because like you can get caught up. There's probably 800 YouTube videos on knots in this world nowadays. So I use uni-to-uni, and also it's good. I like it better for like when I have to tie stuff to like 40 and 30 and like heavier stuff. The uni-to-uni kind of just like seems to be a little bit easier for me. Sometimes I have to get like gloves out and I'll do it so I can cinch it really tight on the heavy line, which is real nerdy. But I mean, it's so hard.
I do the same thing.
Like, if you pull line, like heavy 40-pound fluoro and like braid, I mean, your fingers physically can't take that. So it's like,
well, if you're not into getting nerdy with fishing, you're probably not watching this right now.
Yeah, you're talking.
But then you also got to be careful with the double uni knot, because they tend to like overlap each other sometimes too.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean?
When I wrap mine around, I always try to keep the down loops on the underside when I cinch it down. If any of those twist, or if any of the uni rotates weird, that's when you have those issues. So it's just, again, like I'll sit in my garage, dude, and I'll do a couple of them in a row. And if I don't like it, I'll cut and redo it. That's the only problem with that knot, is that like when it's ugly, it's real ugly. And if you miss it, it's probably not going to stick. So I don't recommend it to everybody, but it works for me. And I fish a lot of really short leaders. So like I don't have a lot of guide, I don't fish a lot of, my connection knot's not flying through the guide as much as everybody else, I guess. So it works for me. It works.
So what's funny is Tom mentioned knot pullers. Yeah, that's what these are right here. Knot pullers.
Yeah. I know. I've seen those knot pullers.
I have line cuts.
You have calluses already
here from wrapping the line and just pulling it.
Yeah.
You have calluses.
I'm done with that.
But what I've learned from other professional bass fishermen is that when you're fishing inshore, you don't have to do the full 12 wraps or, such a high quantity of wraps when you're dealing with the RP knot. You can do 5 to 7 if you really want to. But once you're offshore, reaching into, those plus size fish, you're going to want that high wrap and that, down and back up for that extra connection.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Well,
which will ultimately speed the process up.
Yep.
I'll say this all day long. I was diehard RP. I was like, listen, I can't even count how many yellowtail, how many tuna that I've caught on the RP knot, and it works great.
Yep.
I lost like 3 really good bass in one day to the RP knot. And then the next trip, same thing, lost 2 more really good bass. And I don't know if it's something about how quickly they turn and snap. Because with pelagics, they run, where a bass just turns. And after the second trip, it was like I've never lost fish on the RP, and then I've had 2 trips in a row like this. I'm learning the FG knot.
I mean, this is me just saying from my experience. Like when you set the hook and they turn, is when they snap. Right. I mean, from at least from what I.
Well, yeah, and it's a combination of you setting and them turning.
And then turning at yep.
So yeah, RP got taken out of my whole deal.
So I've never seen somebody wrap an FG so fast until I saw Luke. He was wrapping it in the boat. I'm like, dude, are you really serious? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm done already. I'm like, oh shit. All right.
Yeah. Hey.
I've gotten pretty quick at the RP knot,
in
general. However, there is substantially more steps into the FG knot. So the fact that anyone can do that quickly is a skill and something to be proud of.
No, I'm too. Oh, Brett's in here too.
Charlie, you were talking about the Warbaits rod having small eyes, right?
That's Luke.
No, I was talking about how it doesn't have small eyes.
It doesn't have small eyes.
Yeah,
that was a couple episodes ago. People were saying it did, and I'm saying I'm sitting here and it's right next to my Phoenix M1 inshore, and it's almost identical eyes.
No,
so Nick was asking.
I know what Nick's talking about. So I have a iRod Genesis 3. It's a junior crankbait rod, and it has small guides.
Is that why it's a junior?
It's a junior.
But I also think that Warbaits, their original first set, I want to say, of rods had the smaller eyes, but now everything current and going forward is going to have those bigger eyes.
Makes total
So
sense.
to clarify on that matter.
Yeah. Okay. So Matt said RP's the jam, 80 to 100 braid. Whew.
Yeah, dude, 80 to 100, that sounds intense.
Well, you know what? And that makes sense.
15 to 30.
Well, it makes sense because what I was saying is I'd fish tuna and yellowtail, and I was having heavier line. It's when I moved down to this lighter inshore stuff where I had trouble with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Matt and Florentino's totally right. I mean, I tie uni-to-uni because I don't fish 80 to 100 and fish Cabria. So
yeah.
I fish uni-to-uni because that's what works for me. There's no way in hell I would be able to tie a uni. There's zero chance, maybe not zero, but low chance you're tying a uni-to-uni with anything heavier than 80 pounds.
It's probably a uni-to-uni with one wrap only. And that's it.
Oh, dude! At that point, I'm just gonna super glue it together,
right?
Hopefully,
so Javi in the comments just said wrapping or tying line on a boat is a skill. There is a time where I was doing that mono to braid connection, that RP knot. My hands slipped, and I absolutely just punched the boat, and I split 2 knuckles. And I was just so pissed for the rest of the day. I was just like, man, my knuckles were just bleeding because I'm again, the knot tires right here. I was really pulling it. I was doing 50 to 50 pound right there, and my hands slipped and I just punched the boat, and all this blood, and I was just so mad.
Daniel's gonna get knot pullers tattooed on his knuckles.
Yeah.
So this past Saturday, me, Luke, and Shannon went out to fish, and we broke off a couple times. We were dogged by a seal.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't leave us alone.
Yeah.
I've never been dogged by a seal like that at the wall.
Like, he was on us, right? And I hooked on a fish and he took it from me, like, on the rod. It was insane.
You guys got to leave the area at that point.
So we lost leaders and we're just like, screw that. I'm throwing straight braid, you know? I don't have time to sign anything anymore. It's like they're biting and we're wasting time tying leaders. So it was like, whatever, braid.
And it was a night where they were not biting.
Oh yeah, that's always how it goes, right?
Like we got this little bite happening. I have no time for this.
we can't lose the window.
I think I was down. I had like 5 rods, and I was down to 1 that still worked.
So, Nick, how's the Saltwater Bass Series been so far for you?
It's been a very good run, and I've been doing the tour now for not the entire tour, but bits and pieces of it since 2017. I want to say 2016 was my first one. And this year has gone so well that thankful. I don't know if you guys know about do you guys know about the spotted bay bass, the variance though, like the 2.25x weight thing?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Give us a breakdown of that.
So basically what that means is, so on a normal tournament that Jerry at the SBS puts on, basically, if you don't have a boat, like, you guys have seen my boat. Everyone on Instagram has most likely seen my boat. Like, I can run with the big boys, but I have to take a beating sometimes to keep up with them to go stay out longer, etc. That basically, like, it would be so much better for I want to compete really bad, but I know I'm going to put my boat in bad situations that I probably shouldn't. So that whole spotty variance thing is nice, because if it's too rough, or if I'm not confident running around in the big water and risking my boat if it gets really bad out there, I can choose to fish spotties, which my boat is, half meant for calicos, and still feel like I'm not just going to get torched by people.
Yeah.
Are going to bring in a basic calico bag, let's say, is 12 to 15 pounds. I think the best spotty bag I've ever heard of in tournament history is 13 pounds. And that was, think how big a 5-fish spotty bag is for 13 pounds. Like, it's unheard of.
It's like the best day of spotty fishing ever.
It's still the best bag. I think it was in the SWBA days. Unheard of weight, though, for 5 fish. So basically that variance, though, allows me to go catch 5 spotties. Let's say like the first derby was 8 pounds. That turns into 18 pounds because you basically multiply 8 times 2.25x. So it's basically as if I caught 18 pounds of calico, but I'm doing it on the spotty level. So you're kind of weighing the playing field a little bit here and there.
Well, and then it also allows that guy in the 12-foot tin can to get out there and compete.
Exactly. So like I'm more equipped than that guy, because I could go out in the big water, no problem. I do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just opens up the playing field to allow a lot more anglers to come into this tour and be more welcomed and not feel like you're just going to get torched, And so far, which is wild, I don't know if you guys have seen the thing, but the top 3 boats have all fished spotties both events so far. Yep, exactly. So again,
you're the spotty shredders.
You feel guilty. I hate to say it like that. Like, I sometimes feel a little guilty, but everybody has the same opportunity to go do the same thing we just did. And it's not, it's not easy to get 8 to 9 pounds of spotties in the winter. I'll tell you that. Like, people get big ones here and there. Everyone always tells me, like, I smoke them big. I get big ones in the winter. I'm like, that's awesome. But can you do 5 of those in 12 hours, in a 9-hour sitting, when you have to start in the dark and it's 38 degrees and your hands are freezing, And Brett and Keith, I can see Brett commenting a bunch in here, but Brett and Keith are on fire with this. So it's funny that I'm sitting here, you guys tell me I'm doing good, yet there's people doing better than me at that, which is even crazier. And I'm like, I feel like we've been doing really well, and then yet we've gotten torched twice now by, I think the last bag, Brett and Skylar Crane and Justin Hugron had almost 10 pounds. I'm talking like 0.2 under 10 pounds for a day of spotty fishing, which is, again, I don't know many people that do that, like, on a whim, getting that amount of weight. So it's been dope. it's been. I'm really humble and grateful that we're up there and we're competing with these boats. But I also know the reality is that we have San Diego coming up, which is not my bread and butter, and we have the next event is back in Long Beach, back in my home water, but Clemente is now in play. So now you have spotty 2.25 the weight versus Clemente bags versus inshore bags. So it's really going to start leveling out. I feel like we got a little lucky with the big water fishing in the first two events. Didn't go very well because you guys have known it's like been cold, it's been rainy, it's been horrible for the big water. But that everybody should know, after the rain, the spotties go bananas. The water muddies up, and they're going to go absolutely psycho. So I think we've gotten a little lucky in that regard. But that's what tournaments are about, though. Strike when the iron's hot. My partner Matt and I knew if we get rain before each tournament, we have a chance to win. If it's crystal clear and cold, we're so screwed. So it's like, but we still have confidence in what we're doing. But man, that dirty water plays a humongous role. Where I every time we go out there, we have a shot at 10 pounds, in my opinion, in the stain water. And if it's clean, if I can crack like 8 pounds, I'm very happy, because that's not when that water gets clear, the sun gets high. A lot of baits get taken off the table. A lot of line gauges have to come down. A lot of slowdown has to happen. I'm sure all the shore guys know it too. I mean, the difference of like night fishing, even like how good people do at night in the winter versus the day, is astronomically different, I bet. Now, so I mean that's the long version of that. So I'm so stoked to be sitting. We're sitting in third angler of the year right now, behind Hugh Gron, Skylar Crane, and then Brett and Keith. So this next event, is going to be huge for us to hopefully, we're gonna try keep doing our spotty thing and try to spotty our way to victory. For
now, I wish you the best in San Diego, but I've heard a lot of San Diego spotty fishermen say that there isn't that many large grade spotties in San Diego's. You're going to get a higher number of those cookie cutter, 15 and under, and like 15 still pushing, the larger side in San Diego. And, there's the offhand that you're Nate and you get a 20-inch spotty. But even then, I hear that
20-inch spotty.
It's going to be pretty hard, I think, to get a solid bag in San Diego. And that might be controversial, but let me know.
So what's a typical Clemente bag for this kind of stuff?
What's a typical? Like on a derby day, you mean, just random?
Yeah.
So like then the first Clemente day is April, that you'll be able to go to in the tour, and I'd say in April, 22 pounds. Is very 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 doable, and up to 25 very doable. I mean, Gary does it all the damn time, dude.
Gary lives in San Clemente.
Yeah, but again, the risk of that is you drive 2+ hours, you don't get 22 pounds, so you're almost like, damn, we could have stayed inshore and fished spotty. So it's such a juggling, and Jerry really mixed up the tour with the spotty thing, because it really makes everybody think like, dang, what should we do? Like, I know boats that destroyed last year in spotties, but have all been fishing the big water. And I'm like, why? Brett and all of us are looking like, why is everybody dodging these fish? But that's going to change. But that's Charlie, I'd say, maybe, like I said, I'm not a super island rat yet. I've been many, many times, but 22 pounds, I've seen people kick my ass numerous events coming back from Clemente with 22 pounds, and I'll be sitting there with a 15, 16 pound inshore bag and be like, we killed it. Oh, we didn't kill it. Damn it.
Now, you know how crazy that would be if you won the whole SWBS with just spotties on every event.
Oh, it would be insane. Yeah, Brett, like
the amount of people that would lose their minds.
You guys should
with just spotty bags.
Pin that comment from Brett, because that's exactly what we're thinking. That's why, like, all of us, like all of the spotty guys that are up at the top are shaking, because we know what's coming. So it's like, we gotta keep consistent. 20, dude. You can get 25. You can sack 25 in April, as long as the wind doesn't get psychotic, obviously. But that's when
that's what Nick said as well. He said 20 to 25 easy.
Yeah, it's no problem. So that again, so if you think about it though, a spotty bag though, that means
you'd have to get 13 pounds roughly to be in that 25 range.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
no,
well, actually, what?
It's
10 because then it's 20, then 0.5 would be like 22.
You need
so you
would need 9 to 10 pounds of spotties, which again is not easy to do. You know, as the water warms up a little bit. Yeah, but it needs to. Yeah, see, Gary, you guys see. Yeah, Gary. But again, Gary knows the island better than a lot of people, so he knows the reality of it. But it still makes it. Again, I don't feel like I know I can't run there in my boat, but I know maybe if I put my head down with spotties, I can get lucky though, and at least compete. Because now it's about points. You know what I mean? It's like we just need, me and Matt, my partner, need to keep weighing 5 spotties to keep our points going for the total year. Now I can't look at it event to event. You have to look at it from a total points overall for the year. So Daniel, I want to answer your question about the San Diego thing. That's why I know the reality is I'm from Long Beach, so I fish all my home stuff really well, but I'm going to San Diego a little blind. We're going into San Diego a little blind. All of the Orange County boats and LA boats, we're all going up there a little blind, and we know the reality of San Diego. You can have an 80 fish day and not catch a fish over 13 inches. I mean, it's the way it goes. So, but again, there is ways to do it. You just got to put your head down and figure it out. So I'm actually headed out on Friday to go start pre-fishing down there with a buddy of mine. So we're going to start looking for some patterns and stuff like that. So it should be pretty fun. I mean, you get to go fishing. Took a day off work, so there you go, Brett. 11.5 pounds of spotties is 25 pounds. So again, it's more about
that's a huge spotty bag too.
That's psycho, dude. That's literally psycho. So again, but that's why, again, don't stress yourself out with that reality. Just keep putting fish in the bag and getting the points of the total year. Because in reality now, we're all trying to win Angler of the Year. We're not. If I don't win an event, but we keep getting top 10s, I would rather win the whole thing than win one event. You know what I'm saying? And have that glory. So we're stoked, dude. And mad respect to Brett and Keith that are winning the whole tour right now. I think you guys might have Brett on in a few weeks, from what I heard. But we lost Daniel. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool. I mean, again, I'd love to start seeing.
Hold on, Nick.
Yeah,
you said Brett. Is that Bubba?
No, that's Brett Wilson in the comments there.
Oh, okay. Well, we need to hit up Brett. I've been on the live.
Sammy just asked a good question. That's a great question.
The legal spot. Well, we lost Daniel.
So the rule of thumb that we always go by is legal body should be 1.4 or smaller.
So the question was, because we don't have Daniel, so we can't pin it, because we can't see the comments when people are rewatching it on YouTube.
So he asked.
So how much? There we go.
Go ahead, Luke.
How much does a legal spotty weigh? Is it around 1.5?
Yeah, I'd say, like I said, if you bring in a fish and it's anything less than 1.4, it's probably short, and it's probably not 14 inches. And it's just the way. I mean, that's the reality. You can get a legal fish that's really skinny, but the reality is a 14 inch should be at least 1.4, in my opinion.
That's the funny thing with spotties is my PB is a 17, and it weighed 1.8, but my other PB is a 16 that weighed 2.6.
Yep, there you go. That's exactly. I have a 19 incher that wasn't even 3 pounds, and then I have a 3.3 that was 17 inches. So there you go.
Yeah. I have an 18, and it probably hit close to 3, but the one that I caught with Luke was fat, and it was like 16, Luke.
Yeah,
and it was only like a 2.5.
This isn't even a joke. I was out one night with Shannon, and he caught a 17 that was almost 5. It was like 4.9. It was like the fattest calico I've ever seen.
Wow!
Just the fact that it could be that short. I know it's not a spotty, it's a calico, but the fact that it could be that short and that heavy was insane.
Well, my football calico that I caught was only 5 pounds. And
that was still like 20.
But that species is different though. Their forage is so much different. Spotties are way more limited than what they're offered. You know, they
don't seem to gorge as much.
Mm-mm. No, I mean I
never get a spotty throwing up fish.
I have.
Like, I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying, like, I get calico throwing stuff up all over my boat.
No,
If we're fishing spotties, there's rarely one throwing up.
I've had a couple of spotties throw some stuff up, but the last one I was thinking about was actually a sand bass. So I was going to be like, "What are you talking about?"
But even still, like, if you think of spotties throwing up, it's just a real limited amount compared to calico and sand bass.
Yeah.
They just don't seem to go as hard.
They
one
throw
of
up
one of the largest spotties I have is like maybe pushing 15 inches, and it was just an absolute circle. When it hit the crankbait, I actually thought I was on a rock because I was fishing the docks. So I casted it, wound it in, and my crankbait just stopped. It stopped just absolutely nothing. And I went, oh man, I'm in a rock. So I started walking down the dock, and my line just peels off under the dock, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Dude, that was just the fattest spotty I've ever seen.
It's so funny that like this like I never would have dreamed years ago that we'd have a podcast about talking about spotties. It's so dope. It's so funny. It blows my mind because like guys have no idea how long I wanted. Like I want to get a top 3 in a calico event really bad, and I finally got it in my spotty event, especially at Newport, which is like my home. But it's like wild now. Like I've completely abandoned the calico tour, and I'm just like, we're gonna try to win this thing with spotties, bro. We're all in. So fun,
which is pretty awesome.
Like, but no, hey, everyone has the opportunity to do it, so it's just dope. It's like the looks you get though of like, damn, like it makes you, just want to keep going. It's pretty funny. Caught a spotty with an octopus fighting its way out. That's pretty psycho.
Yeah, I had to pin that because that's
pretty good.
I love that response, Nick. You're like, oh, that's pretty psycho.
Yeah, I caught one. I caught one in Huntington Harbor with a chicken bone sideways in its mouth. Like a buffalo wing chicken bone. Yeah, I taped it to my boat.
You think it's from people eating and throwing it off the dock, or you think that's someone using?
You guys heard it here first.
Or somebody was hooking up chicken bones
plastics at Dolan Baits.
Yeah, there you go.
Or somebody was hooking up chicken bones, Luke.
Drop shot chicken bone.
Well, I mean, a chicken wing kind of looks like a razor clam. Like if you put that on a Ned and tossed it out there, that's going to be the next video on the channel right there. I'm catching a fish on a chicken wing. We're going to test different sauces, ranch, buffalo, spicy. We're going to
calico cocktail.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was like the weirdest thing. I looked in the back of the mouth, like when we were unhooking it. I'm like, is that what is that? And I pulled it out. I'm like, it's a chicken bone, dude. Like, what the hell? And I literally have it on my boat. If you ever fish with me, when you open the lid of my boat, it's to the bottom of the boat. I thought it was that fun.
A reminder: don't throw your bones in the water, guys.
Yeah.
Dude, Daniel's gonna load up an A-rig full of chicken bones.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
He already loads them full of slugs.
It's so funny.
Hey, I'm just saying, when you play an A-rig like a jerkbait, you get that whole umbrella just coming in and going out. The slugs.
Yeah, now it's just gonna be like a flock of chickens.
That's so funny. Can I ask you guys?
I'm gonna get one of those chicken like noise squeezers or whatever, like the plastic ones, and that's gonna be like my fish call.
What's up,
Nick?
Nick?
Wants to ask you a question.
So, and it's funny enough, one of the commenters just asked the same question I was going to ask you guys. What's the draw allure to a fish? Yeah, that's that question. So I was going to ask you guys though. The flip of that is like, why don't you guys start competing? What's stopping you from jumping on Luke's boat and trying to do this thing?
I got a really simple answer. I really, really, really would love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a job where if you're not there, they replace you.
Mm-hmm.
If we're called to work the weekend, because I'm in a supervisor's position.
Okay, that's fair.
Someone on the crew could say like, "Oh, I have my kid's birthday," but if we're working the weekend, it's because there's an emergency on the show.
Right.
So it's not because it's like, "Oh, hey, we felt like working the weekend." So, like I said, if you have your kid's birthday or it's an anniversary, everyone gets that. But if you're like, "Oh, I got a fishing trip," people are like, "Oh, so on Tuesday, Wednesday, when there wasn't a lot going on and we kept you around and you sat around watching YouTube for 8 hours, that was cool. But now that we're having an emergency, you got a fishing tournament."
Yep. No. What about Daniel?
Did you read that, Luke? Did you read that?
What did it say?
He said it's because we only fish at night.
Yeah, it's because we only that too. I don't know what to do. If it's a daytime tournament, I'm like, I don't know, guys. I
don't know if you guys saw on the tour. There's a San Diego Bay night tournament at the end of I think it's in May, I believe. So that's gonna be pretty fun. That's gonna be it's gonna be a long night.
I would absolutely love to join a tournament. I did a handful of local tournaments put on by, local Instagram people.
Yeah.
And I love tournaments. How I met Charlie is he was like my imaginary rival because he would always beat me by like a couple of inches. It was always like Daniel, and then Charlie's got like 43. And it's like Daniel, and then it's like somebody else, and it's like Charlie's got like 45, and I'm just like, who's this Charlie guy? Nice. And so he became my bar to kind of like finally like reach. And one day I was doing a tournament. And I finally I had it. I was like, oh, dude, I'm in the upper 40s. I'm probably breaching like 50. I got this sand bass that was like 16, pushing 17 inches, like shoulder length, like fully a good size at Pier J. And I went to go measure it on the board. Fell back in the water.
Yeah.
And so
I saw a picture of it. It was a nice fish.
So my next runner-up like fish was like 11 inches. So I was out by like 7 inches kind of thing. So
I love those all those new events. It's cool because it's giving people access to tournament fishing without the fear of the 14-inch minimum, the keeping them alive on a live well. I'm seeing that because I would have loved that when I was younger for sure. I feel like that's going to help grow the competitive side of it, you know what I'm saying? And it gives a lot of people a chance to really learn and figure out.
Nick, are you familiar with Ghoulie jigs?
He won one of them.
Yeah.
So So those kind of tournaments.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love those ones. But that's
the one that you won, I had joined that tournament, and the guys were like, "How'd you do?" I was like, "Oh, conditions look really good," and I fished the wall for calicos. And I've done that in like seriously 5 or 6 different derbies. Where like funny, I didn't even end up fishing spotties. I just went up to the wall.
We've done a handful of ghoulie jig derbies, and I love doing those when I actually have like the weekend free, because the weekend's usually spent for more family time because I'm, after work I'm in the shed doing as much like pouring up of lead or plastic that I possibly can.
Yeah.
But what's funny is we hopped on Luke's boat for one of these ghoulie jig tournaments or derbies. And I mean, like, we pulled out some really solid spotties, but Luke, I mean, it was like same cast kind of thing. He would get like the 18-incher and I would get like the 14-incher maybe. And it was just like,
I didn't get any 18s that day, but I got like 15s and 16s.
I know, but you still managed to get like 50 inches. So it was. Well, insane.
I didn't even realize we were on the drive home, and Daniel calls me up. He's like, "Do you know you won the tournament?"
That's so dope. That's sick. Well, now
that was a really fun. But I really like low stakes tournaments for people who want to get into fishing, just want to sharpen their skills a little bit more. Mainly because it puts a little bit of pressure on you, and that's what it did for me. And basically, I've been spending the last couple of years in getting that consistency because I felt like I wasn't there on a threshold of like, I need to be able to know that I can go out and feel confident that I fished the water that I fished well enough. I don't want to leave the water going, man, I should have done something else. I don't feel like what I presented was good enough. And I finally feel like I'm up to that level to where I go, whatever I do, whatever I throw, and whatever the results are, I know I did my best.
Yeah, that's fair. That's like, maybe I can answer that one guy's question now after hearing you guys, is like the allure for me was to start doing these is in 2016. I was just like a lot of other spotty people, right? Like I was stoked on catching a nice one on a dock, shore pounding, taking a picture of it, like, stoking out with all the boys on all this stuff, and enjoying the sport as I was learning it. And then I said, you know what? I think I'm doing really well. I think I know this species well. I'm going to do a tournament. Guess what happened? We weighed one fish that we caught at the end of the day. I lost $400 in expenses and entering this tournament. Realized that like I don't know anything about this species. Even though I felt like I was killing it on a shore pounding level, I realized that like there's more to learn of this species than me just like having a good time with it. And I guess growing up playing sports, like I don't lose the fun of a sport by being overly competitive, because at the end of the day, what the beauty of fishing is a lot like golf. Like you're kind of competing with yourself in a way. Like you're in a tournament with other people, but like in a reality, like when you're on the water by yourself, like every time I go out, I always tell myself like, when I go out today, like I want to make sure I learn something, even if I have a rough day where I don't catch too many and I look like an idiot. I need to make sure I'm taking away something that's going to help me for the next one, so I don't keep making the same mistakes. Because again, it's like if you're going, and like my mindset is like, if I'm going out there to fish on my boat that I paid all this money for, I have a car to pull, all this stuff I've done to like go fishing, why would I go out there and to be like, oh, I'm just here to have a good time, which I am, but it's like, okay, well, I'm also going to try to figure this sport out to the best of my knowledge and enjoy it, you know. And for me, enjoyment comes from the nerding out on this stuff, like Daniel and I having mono versus fluoro conversations, Luke and I talking about different crankbaits. Which way should the trolling motor be facing? If you're trying to do this with the boat, which way should it be angled? If there's somebody
you completely changed the way I set up on the wall, by the way.
Yes.
Ever since that day,
100%. Like I watched how you ran my trolling motor for 1 minute, and it was like in that 1 minute, it was like everything just changed.
Yeah, I totally agree with Florentino. But anyway, that's so like I don't think I think everybody should give it a shot and try these smaller derbies, and then try to push yourself in the SBS. Like it's so much fun to figure out like, wow, I actually can keep up with these guys, or hey, that was a fun experience. It was like I liked the pressure of it. When you get a nice fish on tournament day, there's nothing like the feeling of, you know, like there's nothing like it when you start catching good ones in a row and you're putting them in the live well and you're like you and your buddy are just freaking out because like there's just something different about it that takes the fun to a different level where it's like, oh dude, like we put our money where our mouth was. But again, keep in mind, I'm doing good for 1 year. I've been doing this since 2016. I've gotten my ass kicked for years in this, and I have a couple good finishes here and there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm taking this one to the bank because I'm so stoked. Like all of that, again, like I was saying, all that learning is coming to shape, I think, this year, and I'm hoping we can finish it out. And I hope everyone can maybe get inspired by that. Like I started the same way as everybody in tournament stuff, and you know, it's working out now. But again, it's all because of that effort I put in, you know, while enjoying it, but also putting the effort in on that second side of learning, which is super beneficial. So not being stubborn, and you know, we could have a whole another talk about that whole side of it. But anyway.
So it's not just that Matty Wong energy rubbing off on you?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I mean, having Matty on the boat, it's crazy how bad, like you could see it. He was in the back of my boat on that Newport video that everyone's seen before. And like you could tell he was like quiet at some points. And like, cause I was whacking him up in the front, like, oh, there's another one, there's another one. And he's kind of like, and I gave him like this reel that wasn't working. It was so funny. And you could tell, like,
why did you set him up? You set him up.
But you could
give him a rod with a broken eye.
He loves the sport, but you can see he's a tournament fisherman. So he's like, why can't I figure this out? I gave him the right gear, and all of a sudden he starts crushing them, and he figures it out, and then he's smiling and laughing. But it's funny, like how, you know, you can turn your competitiveness into, you know, success in this sport specifically, you know, in any sport, I guess, in reality. So,
well, one of the things I want to say is early on in this, you mentioned like, if I'm taking my boat out, if I'm spending the time on the water, you know what I mean? I'm going to have a good time out there.
Yeah.
But catching a fish amplifies that good time to just a whole different level, to where it's like, yeah, the base time of just being on the water is absolute stoke. We are here today because we love it. But when you catch a fish, when you catch two fish, when you catch all the fish, I mean, it's just a different level of excitement, happiness, and just adrenaline running through it. But one of the things that you mentioned was, you're like, I thought I was killing it on the docks. I joined the tournament and I realized that I absolutely got smoked. Same thing with me. I was like, okay, I want to take this to the next level. I feel like I'm really getting the hang of this. I caught like one fish.
Yep.
Then And then I proceeded to catch like 20 like under 12-inch spotties in one tournament, and I was just like, clearly I got to figure out something to amplify a bunch of these 12-inch to 14 and aboves, so that I can actually put something on the table. I have done so many small end tournaments with, zero results. But again, you go, where's that learning? Where's that learning, or what's that meaning kind of thing behind this? What did I do? What can I do differently? And so I've been trying to do that more recently, just so I can have some consistency, because I want to go out and I want to catch a fish. I want to know why I didn't catch a fish last time.
But let me say this. You say you caught 14 small fish, right? And you got to look for those bigger ones. I mean, you're catching fish, right? It's just those bigger ones. I mean, what can you possibly? I mean, you're fishing in the right spot because you're catching fish. But how is that big one going to come out? I mean, it's just, you got to find it, right?
No.
How? Please tell me.
Well, the thing is,
Daniel's going to tell you right now the same thing I'm going to tell. Daniel started finding because he started fishing bigger baits.
Okay, so bigger baits.
That's one way.
Bigger baits.
That's one way.
Different baits.
You tend to get bigger ones on the crankbait.
Of course, 100%.
My arsenal in general has gone from drop shotting a Berkeley ghost shrimp, and absolutely catching 30 small spotties on that, to maybe having 5 solid spotties or 6 solid spotties on a variety.
If we're talking about seeking bigger fish, it's bigger baits, right?
Yeah.
It's not spots that you're fishing.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. So it's
some
not
spots have bigger fish.
Some big fish, right? I mean, I caught that. Go for it.
I don't even mind telling the spot. I used to love fishing the Marina Del Rey launch ramp, and I would call it the nursery. Like, hey, I'm not going to get anything big here, but I'm going to get like 12-inch fish and have a really good 1-hour session before I go to work. My 17-inch one popped out of there.
Yep.
I've never even seen a 14. I get a 17 out of there. But like I said, like some spots hold bigger ones. Some spots seem to hold more bigger ones. I'm not going to name the other spots, but I know there's like the places that me and you are catching them on the jerk bait, Charlie, tends to hold bigger spotties.
I can tell you guys from the last 2 events, before we get into the lateral stuff, the last 2 events, we've gotten our both of our limits came from the same areas that I fun fish frequently, and just we timed it right with the same with different baits that made sense for the conditions that day. But that's what I'm saying. Like we went to our spots where we knew legals were. We didn't go hunting around with the same baits. Like we knew we have like a targeted game plan of like, okay, we know these areas hold them, and if they're not there, so be it. You can live with it because you're like, I followed my plan of attack rather than just like pinging around the harbor all day. You're you're relying too much on luck and not enough on your skill that you put in all that time about, which is like basically what Luke's saying. He's like,
exactly.
No, like I know there's fish here, and all it takes though is the right conditional day, and you're going to get a big one because he knows there's fish there. Period. It doesn't matter that if they're big ones or not. Their big ones are always there. They're just always going to be the smartest ones, and they're going to eat the most optimal time. That's all, Anyway, so I feel like we could go on that, but that was a great point, Luke. I appreciate it.
So let's hear about what you got coming up with Lateral Vision.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt Florentino, for reminding us that I run a fishing brand. I forgot.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Matt's our unofficial. What is it called?
Moderator.
There you go.
Yeah.
He's the dad of the chat.
He's the dad of the chat.
Well, and the best part is he's on it. Like, I swear to God, if I was like, oh man, I can't remember what size leader I like, he'd be like 40 pound.
Yeah, right.
Well, just a sidebar right now. Tom Troop is saying how tournaments will get you into an environment and a community with people who want to fish hard and are like-minded, and it's a great way to learn at a rapid speed. But what's funny is I'm reading the comment section of, our live show right now, and the amount of information, I was like, this is it. This is the same environment. This is the environment that we've been wanting to build. And I'm just like, I'm kind of mind blown right now, because I'm like,
but
I'm so proud. I'm so proud of everybody in the comment section.
That goes back to, again, though, like what path do you want to take in this sport? If you're like, most people are perfectly fine having a night of 10-inch spotty, 10 to 12-inch spotties, and enjoying their night and swinging on some fish. No problem with that. I do it all the damn time. I still do it all. I do it on my own. I bought a boat and a car to go catch 10-inch fish, for God's sake. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny that, like, but it's all mindset. But do you want to cross into that other realm where you're like, ooh, I think I'm killing it. Maybe I should test it.
Yeah.
Other guys that I know are killing it because that's the results show, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where, again, like, it never is not fun. It's fun on both sides of the wheel. Which side of the wheel should you focus all your energy on, though, is the deal. That's where, I mean, again, I've just decided to focus my wheel. I want to explore the whole wheel, where it's like I'm willing to lose money and put my money on the line to see if I'm truly learning this, or if I'm just enjoying it, and maybe I'll never do it again and just enjoy catching fish. That's the whole point of the sport, is fun, but there's no definition of what the fun should be. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That makes perfect sense, because that kind of is reminiscent of a conversation I had a while back with a guy, and he said, I can't remember what I said, but he said, that mindset starts turning into trophy hunting, which might not be what this is all about. And I said, but that's where I have fun.
That's right.
So, and like, kind of in that conversation, it was like, it hadn't occurred to me, like, okay, that's what I am. I'm a trophy hunter, and that's what's fun for me. I'm not looking for the 100 fish night. I'm looking for the 5 fish night with 5 monsters.
Yep. That's exactly right.
It's such a sick feeling to catch like anything more than 3 or 4 pounds, right? Like, it's just such a beautiful fish.
Right.
But then there's some guys who that's not their thing. They're like, no, this is my night off this week, and I don't care if they're all 14 inches. I want 100 of them.
Yeah, who cares?
And that's totally cool too.
I do it all the time. Trust me. I do that all the time. Yeah.
So let's talk lateral.
Yeah. It's it's 2024. We got a new fresh year for everybody. The first one I can expose onto this podcast is that Daniel and I may or may not have something in the works currently. I don't know. We can't expose too much, but Daniel and I have joined forces, and we got something fun coming, hopefully in March, at the end of March. Yep. So we've nerded out to the point of business now, which is rad. We have a pretty special collab drop coming March 8th. That's going to be live. Let's just say tentatively March 8th with a very large swim bait company in San Diego. That's going to be a pretty cool apparel collection. That's probably one of my favorite ones I've made and worked with. So I'm pretty pumped on that. So I will keep an eye out for the coming soon report on that. I'm not going to expose too much. And then we got a couple other cool capsules coming out through July, with I don't want to give up too much, but we have like a couple angler capsules coming out where I'm giving my team guys basically the infrastructure to design their own merch and put it out for sale. So it should be pretty cool to see, like,
that is pretty cool.
Our team anglers are going to directly influence some of the garments that they're going to wear and enjoy. Almost like skateboarding world, like a pro model shoe, pro model deck, pro model, like collection of a pro skater. So like I'm going to be doing the same thing with my team guys and let them basically design their stuff through me, and I help them along the way and kind of mentor them to make a cool product. Hopefully people are stoked on it, and it'll bring kind of the relatability back to lateral and let everybody know that, like, again, I'm an idiot with a boat that catches 12-inch fish and enjoys this stuff just like the rest of everybody else.
Nick,
is that kind of like,
don't downplay yourself?
Is that kind of like what you did when you had the Matty Wong Simpson style shirt?
Yep, exactly. So like, but again, Maddie's like, Maddie is a pro. Keep in mind, I'm doing this now with even my lower level. I don't even want to say lower level, but like let's call it
street level.
I mean, in reality, we're all lower level than Maddie.
Your apprentice is.
we forget that like he literally
It's street level. He's like Iron Man. And you're gonna do some stuff with Spider-Man.
I like street level. So all the street level homies are going to get basically their own collection.
That's funny.
And you know we're going to roll them out, you know, now through July. So like some of them might take some time because like these guys, it's their first time designing their own stuff or giving me ideas. But I'm super excited on that program. So that's going to be really cool. Like, you know, all the local guys that you guys see on our feed are essentially going to be helping design their own stuff. And have an opportunity to partake in the design process, which is really cool, and I'm really excited for. I actually just got a text from one of my guys that just sent me a whole list of ideas and screenshots, and it makes me excited seeing them get excited on that process.
I'm really excited for it because.
Wait.
I'm
You're like in cloud 9 right now.
Huh?
You're like in cloud 9 right now.
Yeah,
I know. I'm excited to see the names associated with these collabs that you're talking about.
Nice,
and I was just about to be like, "Oh, that would be so cool if yada yada." So, and I was like,
"No,
wait
don't say anything."
I'm like, Nick's over here like dancing around names and all that stuff. I'm like, I
don't talk, Daniel.
A little bit.
The cool collab we have with Daniel is going to be we're actually going to bring something to life from Daniel's world and basically make it available through merch off our shop. So it should be pretty cool. And supposedly we're going to do a lure of some kind, but Daniel said, "Nick, you're way too nerdy for me in this." No, I'm just kidding.
By the way,
up with Daniel and I should be pretty cool. I'm excited. That's why it's rad that we're on here talking about this now. So me and Daniel have got some cool stuff from Daniel's world that I'm going to help him kind of bring to life. You know, that I resonated with when I saw it.
We were all really proud of Daniel when we first heard about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were. We just sat there like, Daniel, you're so great. You're so great, Daniel.
I only told these two.
No.
Not to tell anyone, and you guys just got me in trouble by
it. He didn't tell us any details. He just said, "I've got something in the works," and we told him we're so proud.
Nice. Daniel did something.
They're my biggest fan. Yeah, no, it's. I've always loved graphic tees. It's always been something fun for me. And we had this conversation, like if I could have a hand in everything that I do, whether or not it's making stickers, like I would love to screen print stickers. I would love to hand make them, hand write them, paint them, and then do that. But it's like I am limited in the things that I can do because it's like I have screens at my house. I have screen equipment at my house. I know how to screen print on a shirt poorly. I know how to screen print poorly on a shirt, but it's like, man, I would love to do everything. That's just who I am. So it's kind of cool to be working with you. I mean, it's awesome to be working with you. It's not kind of cool. It's absolutely a dream come true, really, because I'm like, oh my gosh, finally somebody that can pick up this half that I won't ever be able to do.
Yep. No, I'm very stoked to help you bring it to life, Daniel. So it should be a fun adventure. We'll see if all the people like it or not, you know. And I think they will. I think.
And if they don't, I'll proceed to wear it myself and force it down people's throats.
If not, then Daniel and I get free T-shirts, which is great. And then
just make sure, Nick. Make sure. Don't forget about Luke.
Oh yeah,
right? 5X.
I got you, Luke.
5X.
I got you.
Oh, I'm
5XT. I'm not just big. I'm tall as well.
All right, that's true. Aren't you? You're on like a weight loss journey. I've heard, right? You're down like 30 or 40 pounds, right?
It's a journey. Let's put it that way. I don't know where I'm at. I'm it's like this, but
bro,
my blood pressure is the lowest it's been in 10 years.
Bro, that's huge. I mean,
so there we go.
You got to be proud of that. Sorry to air you out in your own podcast.
No, it's all good. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know if I'm 40 or if I'm 30. I was down 50 at one point.
Bro,
I'm getting back.
That's insane.
You get on, you get off. No, but I mean, like I put some back on. But the goal is to be down a total of 80 by November.
Okay.
Because November's when I go to Mexico.
All right, that's cool.
And
good for you.
You know, we're going to be on the Tony Reyes where you're getting on and off the Pongas.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I want to be a little lighter for getting on and off those boats.
Hey, that's a good motivation, man.
Anyone going down to Mexico, wear sunscreen.
Idiot.
Thank you. That PSA, Daniel. Everyone's
I forgot to sunscreen
You need to
my
do
legs.
you need to do a personal public service announcement and post it on your page.
Yeah,
You literally have a YouTube channel that has an episode about sunscreen.
Well, I just forgot to sunscreen my legs because I was in the middle of a hot black tuna
Someone should have sock checked him.
Target Pongo weight. I like that. Yeah.
Dude,
Target Pongo weight.
Exactly.
I'll post a picture
That's the
of my
regimen.
legs. You
Hey,
can
that's the
absolutely
regimen,
fry an
Luke.
egg on 'em.
Target Pongo weight.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good tea.
Hey, Nick, you're always thinking about t-shirts, huh?
Yeah.
Constantly, yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
I love
Yeah,
that.
so we're gonna do me as a Simpsons character in a Ponga. Say target acquired.
I love this stuff.
That's funny, man. Keep pushing, Luke.
And then to cap off the lateral stuff, just to end it on, now that I'm thinking about it too, I have one more thing was there's a third collab that I landed that is one that I think the SoCal scene has been waiting for quite some time. Daniel knows what it is, but I'll leave it to everybody to find out in May or June. It's coming. But we have I've teamed up with a local, another bait company that everyone knows and loves, and it should be a collection for the books, as they say. So I'm pretty pumped on that one. I wish I can give you a hint that they have a bait that rhymes with tickle. And yes.
I know exactly who it is.
Yeah, probably do.
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Yes.
You heard it here first. He's collaborating with the Tickle people.
The Tickle people, yes. Playboy.
The Tickle people and their Pitbull.
Awesome.
You know what's really funny is you went with Playboy. I went with Teletubbies.
Oh, I like that.
Gosh.
But hey, there's another T-shirt for you. The Teletubbies.
Yeah.
The Teletubbies.
But what's funny is I have this. And you can ask Luke and Charlie. I have all these ideas, and I'll send it to them. I'll be like, "Hey, this is a placeholder. I'm throwing it out into the universe." And they're like, "You have no time for T-shirts. What are you trying to do?" I just go, "It's a thought. I had it. What do you guys think about it?" But it's funny because it's like I actually need to run all those ideas by you because, well,
yeah, because I've told them I was like, we're not doing it.
I'm like the buffer. I'm
full-time YouTube editing.
Dude, okay. I don't know anything, but there's a specific thing that Daniel did.
Oh yeah, Charlie. Don't worry, Charlie. Don't worry. Let me
that I loved, and it might be that. Or no, let me
put it like this. Nick goes, "That's my favorite one," and I went, "Yeah, you and Charlie and everybody else, okay?"
But
Charlie's been asking me about that for.
I could tell by the expression on Nick's face that you guys need to stop.
All right, we're up to an hour. I think that's gonna do it for us today. But man, we're stoked for everything that's coming, Nick.
Thank you.
Super stoked that you're on with us and talk fishing. You know,
we got to get you on again. You know, with springtime's coming around, have a crankbait episode.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So you know, we've been throwing this idea around where we're like do like a, what is it called, like a report kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So we can definitely do that.
Like seasonal specific stuff.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah. I mean, spring is one of my favorite times of the year for calicos. I usually transition out of spotty fishing out of the winter and go back to calicos for a little bit until my boat falls apart, and then I go back to spotty fishing for a little bit. It's basically the way it goes. So,
you know, a lot of people actually do that because there's not so many individuals running around in the winter.
No,
so you get kind of these new opened waters and this fresh breath air that, you know, there's not somebody to the left of you, not someone to the right of you, and you're just like fishing all the same gear and all the same water because sometimes people go, it's too cold. And you know what? That's never bothered us anyways.
We were in that last tournament at a Long Beach, and like we were fishing Huntington Harbor in the morning in the dark, you know, like right at the buzzer base or at the horn. And it's the first time where we were fishing some docks, and I literally turned to my partner and I'm like, I literally might go home right now. It's that cold. Like I'm that over it right now. And he's like, Nick, it's been like 30 minutes. I'm like, I know, but it's freaking cold, dude. I'm so over this. I mean,
you gotta put fingers on your gloves.
I had the gloves on too, but man, it was one of those mornings that was just cold. It just was like cold.
For the first time, at least that I've experienced, I was fishing with Ty from Tackle Supply. We were out there 5 o'clock, maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock. An hour comes in and my hands are swollen. Like I have like red marks, like almost like red stretch marks from the swollenness. And I was like, this has never happened. Like this is like I've fished 4 a.m. before. I've fished cold weather before, but I mean my hands were just like bloated from the cold. And I was like, dude, we gotta like
it's just
what are you talking about? Last winter was gnarly.
Not like this one.
We were cold.
Sammy just said the AFCO Reaper's the anti-cold. Sammy, I've been running the Reaper with the Hydronaut.
Yep.
You got me on the Reaper.
I love the Reaper.
The Reaper is awesome.
My full.
Don't take it off. I don't take it off.
I'm going to give this review right now. I got the Reaper like when it first came out, and I'm still wearing that same jacket. I've taken it to the dry cleaners once because a pterodactyl pooped on me. But if you looked at that jacket, you'd think I bought it this winter, not when it first came out.
The Reaper is a solid, and it's true to size. So whatever size you wear is true to size. You don't have to be guessing. It's a beautiful jacket. So, but guys,
this has to be like one of the fastest hours of this show, which is such a blast talking to you. Because I mean, we didn't even get into the monofilament debate in general.
The crankbait breakdown, the jerkbait breakdown.
But the thing is, even
dang, you're right. Dang, I was looking forward to all that too. Let's go now.
We didn't even get to tell you about Charlie's monster on the crankbait.
I'm proud of Charlie.
Thank you.
We all are. Charlie's been killing it the last year.
Charlie was in the front of the boat in that one session, just kicking my ass. I'm like, damn, maybe I should quit everything I'm doing.
No, but ever since that day,
it's because he's little, so he's got balance on the boat.
No, so ever since that day, we were like, let's get crankbaits and throw crankbaits, and it's just like you say, you learn stuff when you go out, right? You learn something new. That day, Luke was getting hit on top, right? And I was just like, I kept telling him, like, I want to tie a crankbait on. He's like, just do it, and I'm like, man, I just kept throwing what I was throwing, and then he was like, he got annoyed when he was like, he just told me straight up, he's like, dude, shut up and tie a crankbait on. And I'm like, all right. So we started catching fish, man, before I caught the 8, and then he caught an 8 that day too. So it was a pretty solid night.
Jesus Christ.
But we didn't even get to that, man. And I was really looking forward to that, but it'll be another time for sure, man. For sure.
You got to catch it on the next episode.
For sure.
No, I appreciate you guys letting me come on and, kind of tell my side of the tournament thing, since we're having a good year. So hopefully we keep it going and make everybody proud and just keep fishing our butts off. I mean, that's all we're going to do. Keep enjoying it.
For sure.
It's cool having
out there. I can't wait to see the success you have with those spotty bags. I think that's going to put a really good light on spotty fishing and spotty community in general. Yeah. But it's just a blast to see you guys just absolutely dogging it out there. So
hey, thank you. I gotta give out a shout out to my tournament partner Matt too, because I wouldn't be able to do it without him. So if he's watching or listening, I mean, he was the reason that we did well in the last event. So I only got to take partial credit for that last event because my partner was on another level in that last event. I was a net.
What's Matt's last name?
Matt
Morinishi.
And then second, where can we get Lateral Vision?
We can get Lateral Vision at lateralvisionbrand.com. You guys can always reach out to me, and I might even have a little secret discount code for your guys' listeners by tomorrow. So we'll get that all set up for you guys. I know that the chat
time on the water 2024. Just type it in.
Well, don't do that, but reach out to us. We'll talk with Nick, and that's for the 27 people listening. Oh well. Also, this is going on YouTube, so
this is going on YouTube. Yeah, so this is for the hundreds of people listening.
For the hundreds of people that are going to listen.
I keep
time on the water 2024 is the official code.
No, but so that's going to do it for us today. Daniel, congratulations, sir. And you already know, guys, what
And
fuels
Nick,
all this.
congratulations.
What fuel everybody? Congratulations.
Yeah. This has
What
been an
fuels-
absolute blast. We could talk for hours. I mean, you already know it. We could easily talk for another hour, but as it all goes, we'll catch you on the next episode. And what fuels it all
And
is
most
our
of all,
love for
what
fishing.
fuels it all is our love for fishing. Thanks, Nick. Love
Peace
you,
out,
man.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for talking on. Peace.